everyone. Got a load of goodies come from Boowan Nicole, and I do love their moulds, and I haven't done anything on camera with these for a while, so I thought we'd have a look at these new ones. Let's unbox together and see if we can work out what they all are. Oh, and Kermit's got some new sunglasses he thought he would like to show you. Thank you very much to Julia for sending me a huge bag of frogs, and to everybody else who sent me huge bags of frogs at Christmas. It has got somewhat out of hand. The ones Julia sent me have got sunglasses, so Kermit's got one of the pairs of sunglasses on. Right, now I am guessing that that is going to be a candle refill mould, because as you can see it's not like a dish as such. Yeah, that's going to be a candle refill mould. This is the pot for it. There's going to be a lot of rustling noises in this, sorry. Okay, this looks like it is the pot for the candle. Yes, that'll be that. Okay, so what I've got here then is definitely a nice big fat round pot mould. They put these frames on them, look, and it's magnetic now. They used to do them with like little clamps, but they're even easier, they're magnetic. So there's your pot mould, and that's your candle refill. Oh yep, here we go, lid. That's got to be for that one. This is the only difficulty I have with the Boowan Nicole moulds, is when I've got a box full of them, is which lids go with what pots. I need to go through them all and put them into like sets together in bags, so I know which are which. Oh, look at that. Most beautiful flower mould. Right, I think we should be making that one, don't you? I do love having these frames because you can do funky effects with your Eco Pour or whatever other casting powder you use by tipping the mould around a lot easier. And it means you don't get any sagging, and it keeps the shape, which means your lid will always fit. Yeah. And is this yes, look, it's another set. So what you do, you make your pot, you make your lid, you pour your candle wax and everything in the little insert mould, and then you can sell your candle pot with a whole load of refills for it. Isn't that simple and brilliant? So let's have some fun. We'll get making. The other thing I want to do today is look at some different ways of colouring eco casting powders, because I do still get asked this a lot. There's a number of ways. Sorry about all the rustling noises. There's a number of ways. The one I typically use is actually just the actual colourings for Eco Pour. So that's fairly foolproof, but of course you can paint them, and you can also use mica powders in with sealant that you put on afterwards and all sorts. So let's have a look at a couple of different ways of doing things here. I think for these we'll do the products that are specifically intended for Eco Pour. At some point soon I'll do some where I actually just paint it with acrylic paint and things like that, but we'll do some of the traditional ways with these. So let's put the candle insert pieces out of the way. We'll come back to those. We'll have a go at making candles later. We'll get our two pots here and make sure that the frames are on right. Easy way to do that, because they've been packed in, in a box in the packaging. So the easy way to do that is take them off, just pop them on again, give them a little jiggle. And these moulds are made of the most beautiful high-grade silicone. It's squishy and soft and gorgeous. So look after them. They are ones to be very carefully loved and nurtured, and they're so easy to demold as a result. So the powder I'll be using is Eco Pour. Don't forget, if you prefer the two-part type casting powders, the ones with a part A and a part B, a liquid and a powder that you mix together, then Boowan Nicole, who make these gorgeous moulds, do their own variety called Boowanite, which is also very good. However, I like actual Eco Pour because it's easy. I can just add water. So the first one we're going to do just in plain white. So I'm going to get some water and we're going to mix that up in this little pot here. And the correct mixing ratio for Eco Pour is 3 parts water to 10 parts powder. However, I find that if I'm a little bit either way, it's okay. And therefore, I'm afraid I do eyeball it. If you want to do like a lovely marbling effect, which we will do in this other one, then you will need to be a bit more vigilant about your mixing. You need it to be a bit thicker, actually, than the recommended ratios. But what you're looking for, and I think a little bit thicker than that, is like double cream, let's say. If you make it too thin, it takes ages to cure. And you get like a watery top on it. Whereas if you mix it right, it just cures in about half an hour. I tend to leave it longer to demold anyway, because it's then it's more resilient by then. Splash them in the little mould already. So what you do, you pour it in, and then you give it a little tap, and that is just to release any bubbles that you've inadvertently trapped in any of those little nooks and crannies. Around a lip like this is where very often you'll end up trapping bubbles. So once you've filled it up, the trick is grab yourself a little micro brush or a cotton bud, anything that's not going to scratch your mould, and just go around the lip like that, and that should release any bubbles that you might have got trapped. Let's put a little bit more in there. I'll start this one off as well, and then obviously I'm going to need to mix some more up, so back in a moment. So something to mention is that with EcoPour there's no need to sieve before or after mixing. Just mix it thoroughly, you won't have lump problems. This is the other thing with these moulds, it makes the jiggling about to get rid of any bubbles afterwards easier. Of course, with pop ones you can get your hand up underneath and do a bit of like pinch squeezing too. And again, we're just going to go around the top here just to release any little bubbles that might have got trapped. And you can poke any others, just give them a poke, and that should just clear the surface, no problem at all. It'll degas itself anyway. So I mean, EcoPour is just really easy to use. Wonderful stuff. And there we go. A little bit of a clean up round there, just because I'm being fussy for the camera, and sorted. Right, so that's that one. I'm going to push that to one side. That's the other thing. Because it's in these little frames, that makes it easier to move. Now for our bigger one. And this is obviously going to use quite a lot of EcoPour. This is a really easy way of marbling. Let's do it that way. Let me get plenty of EcoPour mixed up. And I think I'm going to need to crash open a new bag shortly. So let's hope I've got enough water here. Different whisk look. It's one of those that you push it and it spins itself. Let's retry it. Oh, that's fun. It's overly effective, but it's fun. Yeah, that's fun. Don't know how many bubbles it's introducing, but then again, it'll clear itself anyway. Right, let's see how thick this is. So as you can see, that is a bit thicker than I mixed the previous one. And yeah, it's now full of bubbles. This is going to be for the lid. And the reason I've mixed it a bit thicker is because we're going to marble. Yeah, that is really thick. See how thick that is? Making a mess. What we're going to do, I've got this lovely deep red colour. I'm putting a few dots of the colour. This is from Homeware Designs. It's a complimentary sample they sent me of Cherry Royale. Sounds nice, doesn't it? I'm going to get one of my smaller stirry sticks and just do that a bit. I already feel that stirrer didn't get right down into the bottom. Whisk, I mean. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Before I go any further with topping this up, I'm just going to do the tapping thing. I've ended up with some nice pink in the bottom. So there we are. Again, going round the edge with a micro brush. And that's our lid done. Okay, so same process again. Yeah, this time I feel I'm right down onto the bottom. I didn't use my new Mad Whisk terribly well the first time. It definitely introduces a load of bubbles, but as I said, EcoPour just degasses so easily. This is fun. I really fancy some of these. I can't remember where I got them from, but I'll find you the link. Quite thick, yeah. It's poked down into the corners, because that's, oops, better use a clean one, hadn't I? Because that's the only thing with using one of those whisks, is it doesn't get down into the corners because of the shape of the whisk. So let's just give it a little poke around, and there we are. So again, before it's completely full, bit of a tap. Could lift it up and do the squishing thing from underneath, but I think this one might, yeah, this one might actually fall out of the mould housing because of its shape. So there we go. Let's pull the last bit in. Before it's completely full, we go around with our micro brush. When I say completely full, just some tiny smidge below. Pour our last little bit in. And there we are. Right, we're going to leave these now. I've got a bit left over, so I'll chuck it in something else. I don't know what yet. It was a Kermit mould. Let's have a frog. Probably going to leave them an hour and have a look. And then what we'll do, we'll just straightforward seal the big one, because that's already coloured. And then I'll show you a nifty way of adding colour and shine. Right, these are well and truly dried. And yes, I totally agree that while these were drying, it would have been a really good time for me to have a clear up. Anyway, I didn't. Let's get Kermit out first, seeing as he was there. Little leftovers. If he marbled, because the EcoPour was getting really thick. It was starting to cure already by the time I poured him, so who knows. Oh yeah, look! We've got a marble Kermit. Isn't he nice? Anyway, there we are. Now, let's go in order. Let's do the little ones first. Put the big fella out of the way a sec. Then what I'll do is, once we've demolded these and had a look, I'll have a clear up, and then we'll get on to what I was saying about sealing and colouring. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Look at the detail in there. That's gorgeous. Right, let's get our little pot part itself out. And I shall just rinse these moulds off, basically, in some fresh water. I'll pick all the bits off first, because although this is eco-safe, I don't want to go risking blocking my drain up. Now, this pot, I think I remember ordering this now. And I do seem to remember it's not just a straight pot. No, look, it's a flower. Isn't it lovely? So if we give it a little twist, that'll come out easily. Look at that. These moulds are gorgeous, aren't they? Thank you so much to Boowan Nicole for sending them to me. Isn't that gorgeous? It's really tempting to just leave it white, actually. Okay, so there's a certain way round that the lid goes on. Can you see that the flower is offset? That's so that you get the right... There we go, that's it. So it looks like it's all one flower pretty much. See? That's why it's kind of looks offset. So it all lines up. Isn't that perfect? So beautiful. Right. Let's put him safely to one side. Now for the big one. Let's see if my marbling has worked. Let's do the pot first. Pull our little magnets apart. Again, I should just give this a little rinse. I think this one is just a more straightforward pot shape, which is handy because I might make myself some plant pots with this. Because you can use resin in them as well. Wouldn't want to keep crossing back and forth between resin and eco-pour, but you can. Look at that. Isn't that nice? I mean, that's just a lovely pot in itself. Really pleased with the marbling. Very, very nice indeed. And that's going to be a big candle, isn't it? Oh, well... I don't quite know what to say. I hope the camera is doing this justice. That is the most beautiful mould. I didn't realise it's got all like little... It's got patterning in the petals. Can you see? There's all like little fine ridges and details. The centre is very detailed. And then add into it that mad marbling that I managed to do. Let's pop the lid on and have a look. That is amazing. Got a feeling that's going to be a Mother's Day present for my mum, actually. I might not put a candle in that one. Might just seal it. Yes, anyway, I'm talking to myself. I'm thinking ahead rather than concentrating on what I'm supposed to be doing, unfortunately. So, let me have a clear up. And while I'm thinking more on that one, we'll have a look at painting the other one. So what I've got here is one of the Boowan Nicole Shine and Seal kits. Or Seal and Shine kits, say the right way around. And what you get in it is a spongy thing, although I quite like using paint brushes, but you have got a spongy thing if you want to use that. You get a bottle of the gloss sealer, which I believe is water-based, and then you get all these gorgeous powders that you can mix in with it, and they are basically the most lovely shimmery mica powders, and I've got quite a collection of these now. You get 5 grams in each bottle, which is enough to go quite a long way. I've used quite a lot of the gold pearl already. But there's a shimmery pale pink. That would be nice on a rose, wouldn't it? And I have got some of their other colours too. But of course you could use any mica powder. I'm just rather fond of using the ones that come with the kit. Because it just seems right, doesn't it? So we're going to get a little pot. And we're going to mix up some of this beautiful powder. And I'm going to put it in a clear pot so you can see what's going on. Now you can do this as subtly pale and or as dark as, or as, you know what I mean, intense as you want. You can mix in as much powder as you want. Obviously the more powder you mix in, the thicker your paint, in inverted commas, will get. But I'll show you what I mean. So rather than use their sponge, because there's all this detail, I'm going to use paint brushes. So these are just a couple of nice soft paint brushes. We're going to put into our little pot a good squirt of the sealant. I've got a bulge under my mat there. What have I done? Anyway, yes. And this goes quite a long way actually, but I'm going to mix quite a bit because I don't want to run out halfway through and end up not having the same to go across the whole thing. So we're then going to grab our powder. We're going to go with that lovely pale pink. I'm going to get one of my tiddy little spoons and put quite a bit of powder in it. So let's see what that looks like. And of course it's mica powder, so it's shimmery. The sealant gloss varnish stuff is a sealant. So once you've used it, you're going to get a good solid waterproof finish that isn't going to chip away, or it'll be nice and strong surface. Isn't that beautiful? Whoa, look at that. I wonder if that's enough. I might mix a bit more to be on the safe side. If I end up wasting some, I'm sure I can paint something else with it. But this little bottle, you get, hang on, how much do you get in a bottle? Does it say? I'm trying to find a number. Hang on, where's my glasses? So nice to be able to wear glasses doing craft. Oh, 100ml. So it goes quite a long way, that does. You can buy it separately as well, I believe. I'm sure I've got it separately in the past. But look, it's a nice, that makes it nice and thick. If you want it runnier, by the way, you can add a spot of water because it is water based. Here we are. I hope I've got enough there. So let's do the flower part first, which I'm going to do with this smaller brush, and you just paint it on. Now, if you want it to be more intense colour, obviously, put another coat or add more of the powder to your colour. But it's so smooth, it's really, really easy to paint. I'm going to go the two coats route because then I can be really sure that it's sealed as well. I'm going to speed this up because I'm just going to paint the whole thing. And then I'll let it dry. It will absorb into the eco pour, so it will dry quite quickly. But I shall leave it for a good half an hour to let that really dry, and then we'll put another coat on. The other thing I will say, actually, before I switch to fast forward, is that normally I would say leave anything that you've made with an eco casting powder, leave it a couple of days to dry completely, because it will still have a little bit of moisture in there, and you don't want to kind of seal that in. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave because I'm doing this quickly for the sake of the video, I'm going to leave the underneath bare for now, and do that in a couple of days. So hopefully it'll carry on allowing the moisture to come out through there. But yeah, if you're doing this yourself, just leave them, pop them on the side for a couple of days, and then do your sealing and painting. Right, enjoy a bit of music and fast forward. Otherwise, you can skip further to the end if you so wish. We will be, of course, making the candles to go in these. Okay, this got messy quickly. Anyway, finished pots. Here we are. This is just so beautiful. And what I've ended up with is, you can see, look how nicely the lid fits, but you can see my brush strokes in the mica. It's got that lovely hand-painted feel to it and that shimmer. Isn't it gorgeous? Anyway, that's what we're going to be making the candle for, is that one. The other one, the inside ended up shimmery. The outside has just got a soft sheen, and the lid, well, what can I say? I put a bit of extra shimmer in the centre, but not entirely sure you can see that. But it's just gorgeous. Anyway, that is for Mum. It's Mother's Day sorted when it comes round. Now, wax. We're going to have a go with my little candle making kit. Now, caveat here, I am no candle maker. I have a go. I've got this little beginner's kit with this dinky little stove. I'll put you the links for where I got all this from as well down in the video description. I think this was Amazon if I remember rightly, but yeah, I'll find you the link. And then there's this brilliant little gadget from Boowan Nicole, and this is for getting your wick in the centre. That's a magnet. So that's what you do. You sit your pot, and if you'll excuse me, I need to move my camera to one side so I can get above it. Actually, let's do this. Let's bring it down here. How's that for you? Is that a nice angle? Yeah, I need to get my head above it just so I can see where the centre is. Now these moulds are translucent, so you can see down through there. As you can see, look, you've got your centre. So you know you're going to have your wick in the centre. So that's the first thing. Now let's find some wicks. So we have a wick. It's quite long, so I can make a big candle with it if I want, but I don't want to. So we're going to use, again, little stick, little measuring stick thing. You see that stuck onto, doing. That's going nowhere. That's staying put. Your silicone mould, because it's silicone, is also staying put. So you make sure you got it central. Now this is just going to hold it, because as you can see, the wick bends over. Gravity takes hold. So you can use one of these. And of course, this also has markings on it. So it will line up and make sure your wick is sat centrally too. Isn't that good? That makes life so much easier. Anyway, we're going to get some wax melted. Look at the state of my jug. I had pink in it last time, as you can see. Luckily, I'm going to be using pink again. So let's get some wax. We have here some soy wax pellets. I believe Boowan Nicole do soy wax as well, but this is just what I happen to have in stock. And I can, of course, now move this slightly to one side and bring you back up above so that you can see what I am doing in the jug. So how's that? Amazing what you can do with a boingy arm and a phone, isn't it? Right. Not sure how much I'm going to need. It's only a little pot. Now really what I should be doing is getting a bowl of water under this, but I don't know where my tin bowls are to stop this scorching. Everything is in a mess still in my craft room. Oh, there's a surprise. So I'm just going to hope for the best without that, but we're going to just put it on low-ish initially. I think I usually put it on about 3, but because it's straight onto the plate, I'm putting it on at 2. And I have got my stirring doodah. I have got my notes on temperatures. And I've got my temperature thingy. I've got some little bitty ones as well, you know, the ones that you actually poke in it to get your temperature. But I find this thing to be really accurate, and it was quite cheap. Again, links down in the video description below. I must stop repeating myself. And you're not meant to keep stirring this, but I can't help myself. Now my spoon won't get hot. I found that the top of the jug here does not get hot, which is why you end up with all this at the top here. Now I'm going to scrape that in because it's pink. I'm after pink anyway, aren't I? And I do have to mess. This, look, any real candle makers out there will be going off for God's sake. Okay, that is starting to melt now. So I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna leave it. Let's have a look at what scents and colours we've got. I find that in pink, more pink works basically. But I don't know. I might go for like a lilac with the tinge of this pink that's already in there. So maybe we'll have a little bit of this liquid candle dye. We'll have that. So you put your, let it cool, and you warm it up to about 70 degrees centigrade. Here it is in Fahrenheit as well. Look at the state of this bit of card. Yeah, you heat it up to that. Let it cool very slightly and then put in whatever additives between 60 and 70. So once I've turned it off, that's pretty much when I'm going to be adding the additives. And this time I'm going to put lavender in, I think. I've got, this was from Hobbycraft. It's a lavender scent. Gosh, that's melting quickly. Maybe I have this on too high as it's not stood in water. I'm going to turn it down a bit. Okay, so if you do this, folks, stand it in a bowl of water, let the water heat, and that will create your temperature. Don't do what I just did, because that obviously gets too hot way too fast. So I'm just hoping I haven't scorched the wax. When this gets down below 70, that's when I'll be putting my colour and my scent in, but right now that is way too hot. Temperature's coming down quickly. Obviously I'm going to make several of these, so I will be finding my little tin bowl out. Stupid thing is I've got a set of 3 of them somewhere. Annoying. Hope that hasn't damaged the wax. 81. Okay, this is now down to 70, which I can add my additives between 60 and 70. So that I am going to do. And we are going to add, let's bring this way a bit. we're going to add our colour. Obviously this is clear at the moment. This hasn't even been opened. This is, yeah, it's clear at the moment. It will dry kind of like a natural off-white. And so you need a little bit more colour than you probably think you do. Now there is a set percentage for adding your colours and your fragrances that if you go over, it'll mess up your wax. So I hope I'm not going over it here. Oh, that smells nice. I have gone for lavender. Ah, that was a pretty good guess, wasn't it? We're going to let that all solidify, whatever the word is. Next one I do, well, I'm going to clean my little jug out, so the next one I can do will be just white, or I might just find a clean jug. That might be easier, because we're going to do 3 different colours to go in our little rose jar. So I'll let that solidify. We'll trim the wick off and see how well I've managed to centre it using these little gubbins to do so. So I'll see you later. This smells amazing. There we go. So we've got our wick sort of centred. I think I disturbed it, which is a bit of an annoyance. Anyway, we're going to trim the wick off. I find it easier to do it while it's still in the pot. I have got a proper wick trimmer, but to be honest, just as easy with scissors. I hope that's not too short. And this has cooled really nicely. Isn't it a lovely colour? Don't know whether it's really the right colour to go with the pot, but we got it, so we're using it. Yeah, I disturbed it. I didn't get it quite central, did I? That's just incompetence, but you can see how easy that gadget would have worked. Oh, here we are. We're going to pop him in here. Doink! And that is how easy these moulds are to use. And of course, whenever you need a refill, you just make some more. And I am going to make a whole batch of these while I've got my candle kit out. And do remember, if you're making candles to give away or to sell, then you're going to need some proper, sensible, compliant marking to go on them. So here we are. I've got some of the proper stickers designed specifically for candles. Just got these from Amazon. And what I tend to do is put one on the bottom. You see I haven't waxed that yet anyway, which I will do. But we'll be sticking one on the bottom there. And also on the inside of the lid, which I have now waxed. So I'm going to stick that on there. It's just your standard safety warnings. I've shown you a cool way, well, 2 cool ways to colour your eco casting powders. So we've got our painted on version, and we have got this, which I'm still stunned by, the marbling technique. And yeah, I'm certainly very pleased with both of them. So if you like this video, then you know what to do. There's stuff to click all over the place. And can I suggest you take a look at this playlist that's coming up over here if you like this, because it's a whole playlist of alternatives to resin. So there's lots of ideas for you. Thanks everyone, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye!